Hey everyone, it's Jack. I am back with another casual ranking for you guys. I want to do these more and more, get more content out to you guys as I'm working on bigger projects. And I think this is my favorite way to do it. I want to get like a really nice room setup going. You can see there's a light in the background and I'm trying to work it all out. It's a single light. Anyways, today I want to rank the challenges of Drag Race on tiers of like how much I enjoy them, whether like they should stick around, things like that. I did a video on this around 2 years ago at this point, talking about which challenges should be retired, but a couple more challenges have become mainstays and I added in a couple like the mini challenges that we see a lot. So I definitely think it's worth talking about again. Make sure you like and subscribe. I really appreciate it with all the support. And let's hop into this list. And here we are with the tier list. I had some people in my last video talk about how we should just have each entry come instead of me explaining them, which I totally get. I'm going to do that for this one and probably going forward. I think explaining the tiers though helps make everything have a little more clarity. So at the top, like the considered S tier, we have the mainstay challenge. I think it's something that should be happening every season. It's a good challenge for the queens and the competition. It often goes viral online, and just having it in general is a good idea for the show. Consistently a good time. These are for the challenges that are on the season, and when I see them pop up, I'm pretty happy that they're there. The performances for these challenges are always good, or there's always just a level of entertainment that is kind of consistently kept. There could be like a dud in there, but for the most part, you know what I'm saying. Interested in the final product, I think is the one that is the least self-explanatory. It's the challenges on the season that often pop up on multiple seasons, but there have been flops within the multiple seasons that kind of give this a reputation of not the best thing. Sometimes it's a home run and they're knocking it out of the park, while other times they're just not really doing what needs to be done. Oh, y'all still doing that? The challenges that don't pop up super often, or we're just not really excited for them each season. And finally, cut it now, cut the challenge, like it's run its course, we've seen enough, we don't really need to see it again. I think we're starting out with a really interesting one that I've talked about a good amount of times. Acting challenges and improv challenges kind of go back and forth in my mind of like which is going to be better for the long run. I think there's some really iconic moments that have come from acting challenges, but for the most part, I don't really see anyone like excited when they come up on the season.
You'll be starring in the reboot of the Daytona Win.
They're often lumped in with like the early challenges when there's a ton of people there and they could just assign a bunch of smaller roles. And a big part is they really struggle to be funny. Like often they really struggle. Take things like RDR Live, for example, which has been a challenge twice now. And when they said on season 16, backed by popular demands, I don't know who they were talking about. No one was demanding it.
Backed by popular demand.
No one says that, but yes.
But then there's some really good performances you get out of these acting challenges, and I think it's good that some of the queens can like take the script and really make it their own. Immediately someone like Bob jumps to mind with that, but I just think more often than not, the writing for these challenges is just not strong enough to really justify them being here really consistently. This one could genuinely go in like 3 different tiers, all of the bottom ones. I think I'm gonna put it in oh y'all still doing that, only because I feel like they've been popping up less and less, and also like they happen so early on into the season. Like up until I needed to think about it, I didn't remember RDR Live happening on season 16. But now that I am, oh, that was the episode that Mirage went home. And up next we have the ball, which I think we could all agree is needed for the show, and it's like a mainstay challenge. Where the ball is placed, I think that is a much different debate because it could be placed in the right spot or the wrong spot. I think much earlier in the season definitely is not ideal. It used to be like the penultimate challenge to get into the finale, or at least like really close to the end. And I do think that was really smart for them to do. It really helped like showcase all of the queens and really get like the relationships going at the end of the season, because they're just kind of sitting in the workroom for hours on end working on their outfits and talking. And then around season 10 they moved it to the beginning and we get more outfits, and I'm glad that the queens can like showcase all of their runways they spend a ton of money on. It just overall becomes harder to follow with that many queens, and we don't really get to appreciate the looks in the ways that we want to. But again, if they happen later, most of the queens wouldn't even get to show them, so I understand why they do it. To me, the ball as of recent has been replacing the early on design challenge for some reason. It's just kind of lost a lot of the luster that it had because it's happening so early, but I still think it is a challenge that I'm happy that is here. Imagery for a show like this is really important, and I feel like a lot of the time when you talk about a season of Drag Race, one of the first images that pops into your mind is a runway, like the design looks. If I say season 16, you immediately think of Nymphia's tie outfit. So that right there shows just how important the ball is. The placement in the season isn't always the best, but for the most part, I enjoy it. And it's just too important to not put in mainstay challenge. The commercial challenge is an interesting one because for the most part, I do think they're pretty good. Often often the flops of this challenge just end up being boring. Like I think of Droop on season 12, someone like Widow, she didn't do a bad job, she just had a lower energy, and well, then there was Jan who had a much higher energy. They can get pretty cringy too, but I just like it because the queens have so much control with the end product. It's a commercial, it's funny. They get to storyboard, go into a set, record for a limited amount of time, but enough to make a product good. It is interesting because they kind of are at the whim of the editors, like the people editing their commercial. I would say they would actually have to have pretty good storyboards, because if the person in the editing room got to it and then is looking at the storyboards and they make no sense, that could really kill their challenge performance. We saw it kind of on season 15 with that drag queens go to heaven challenge. But then there was someone who was super chaotic, like Crystal Method, who was running all over the place, but hers came together extremely well. Obviously, I think interested in the final product is the perfect category to put commercial challenges in, but do I want to actually put it in consistently a good time? I just remembered that season 15 challenge and I really just did not vibe with it. That was a early on challenge that I just don't think served the season that great. I guess we got Sasha Colby being God, which I mean she is, so I think I will put it in interested in the final product. I just wanted to thank today's video sponsor, HelloFresh. HelloFresh is a service that sends you fresh ingredients right to your doorstep for you to cook yourself. With over 50 delicious recipes, there's something for everyone to enjoy. I've been trying to exercise, diet well, gain muscle, and one of the big things for me is to not eat out anymore because I spend so much money and it's just not as healthy for me. And thankfully, HelloFresh is a service that helps me accomplish my goals. They have a Protein Smart option, which is perfect for my summer plans. I also love grocery shopping just a little too much, but when there's pre-planned meals sent by HelloFresh, it helps me not to buy excessively. If you sign up using my QR code or clicking the link in the description, not only will I get a little kickback, but you will get free appetizers for life while your subscription is active. One free item per box. If you're interested, you can scan that QR code or click the link in the description or pinned comment. It's a lovely service, I highly recommend checking it out. Now let's get back to the video. Dancing/choreo challenges are tough because sometimes they're incredible, while other times we get like the disco challenge or like the Olympics challenge.
Holy
In the earlier seasons, I feel like they were more iconic. Like we got Black Swan and we got the like half and half challenge that they did on season 7. Those were pretty great challenges, but more recently, I mean, I feel like the queens are just having to push themselves more and more. And while I do think performance skills are a big thing you need to have on the show, dancing challenges just don't really leave a lot of room for error. And obviously there shouldn't be error, but you can kind of see the critiques going in even before the challenge ends. Someone messes up some steps, they'll cut to the judges. Oh, that person is probably going to be low. You can kind of see no emotion on a person's face, cuts to the judges, that person is going to be in the bottom. And when two of your most notable challenges are the Olympics and the disco challenge, I don't know. I honestly don't think the disco challenge was that bad. It was definitely like a blast from the past history lesson, and I thought that was cool. But especially the judging with that one really took me out. Oh my god, that judging was crazy. It just doesn't appear too often. So I could put it in, oh, y'all still doing that, or cut it now, one of the two. I think with more recent challenges, this one is almost not as needed because I feel like it can overlap with other skills of other challenges. Yeah, I'm gonna put it in cut it now. I could see moving that depending on like where we get. Design challenges are separate from the ball because it is a different prompt a lot of the time. I don't want to rehash everything that I said for the ball because I feel like if they could do multiple balls on the season, they would. But that's just kind of asking a lot from the girls. In both challenges, they're doing designs. So it's like, do I put it in mainstay challenge? I don't think so, because if there's less design on the season, that's not a terrible thing. But I do want a lot of the queens who are designers to have more challenges.
I'm kind of upset that I got beat by fucking Buzz Lightyear over here.
So I definitely think I don't want to like rehash the points too much. It's a product that I'm interested in. Like I'm interested in the final product. Okay, so the finale songs and the girl groups are split up because I think ultimately they are pretty different challenges when I really think about it. Of course, they're both recording songs, but in the finale, there's choreo that they have to learn, and there's like backup dancers, higher production. While girl groups, it happens halfway through the season, and the girls are normally the ones who are choreographing their own dances. As for the finale song, they are actually appearing less as of recent. Like the last one I want to say was, I guess it was Blame It on the Edit, because they kind of did in All Stars 9, but it was like solo songs for Jimbo and Candy. I mean, All Stars 8, you know what I'm saying? And then in All Stars 9, they didn't do it. So it's really interesting that they're cutting back on it because, again, it's just something that the season is going to be remembered by. You think of season 9, you think of Category Is, you think of All Stars 2. I actually just blanked on like, oh my god. Reggie Rochi for All Stars 2. So I think it's a mainstay challenge. I think it should happen every season because if you're making it to the top, you should get like a celebratory song like this. I don't know why they haven't really done it on the recent seasons. I know they have like the girl groups, for example, but to me, it's not the same. And I do think there should be way more outrage about this. We have to at them. We have to email them. Come on. And as for the girl groups, I am getting slightly fatigued with this challenge, but I'm still happy that it's on every season. And I think there are some standout verses that we've even gotten recently. The song in All Stars 9 does not really fit my vibe whatsoever. I really did not like that one. But of course we got Thick and Stick on season 16, which were just incredible. And even then, everyone else on that season didn't do a bad job at all. Like if the worst were Amanda and Q, they were way more judged on their choreo instead of like their actual verses, and their verses were pretty good. And people like Plains and Don's verses just get stuck in my head all the time. So I do think it's consistently a good time. I'm fatigued a little bit because, you know, there's so many verses about snatching the crown, having a teeny waist and all that. But if the girls can get residuals in any way, even if it's sense, I mean, that's cool, I guess. Okay, coming back to the improv or acting debate, I honestly think in recent years especially, improv is just much better. In earlier seasons, there were standout moments like Fraggle Rock always comes to mind for me, but I think a lot of the iconic improv moments happened much more recent. I mean, look over there. That's just like, you could say that all the time. When the challenge is done right, I think it rivals a lot of the most popular challenges in terms of entertainment. All Stars 8, not a great season, not a great season. But one of the big highlights of that season was the Forensic Queens challenge. For both the creativity and the improv that basically everyone did, I don't think anyone did a bad job in that challenge. I mean, from that challenge, we got the iconic Jessica monologue talking about guacamole. I want to watch it right now, hold on. That was weird for me. That was weird for me. Just so sincere, genuinely just such a perfect performance. Like she emulated exactly how someone would act in that situation. And I don't think you could get that same comedy in something like an acting challenge. I think this really opened up a lot of doors for them to really go crazy. But of course, there are some improv products that are not great. The Bossy Rossi, every time they do it, it's not that funny, but I definitely am interested in the final product. The Lalaparuza is up next. I talked about this in the Twist video not that long ago, and I've done a longer video about the lip sync smackdowns and whether they should keep doing them, and I think my opinions have changed in recent years. Around season 15, I was like, oh, I don't really like that they're just making this a main challenge, because before season 15 there was always like a really grandiose aspect to it. But when you really look at the format for a lip sync smackdown, aside from like the pacing, which I've never been a fan of, it's just such a wonderful, entertaining concept, and I understand why they're doing it every season. I am really glad that they switched it up in season 16 and All Stars 9. Instead of having the people who are losing the lip syncs have to continue to lip sync, instead the winners are moving on. And that just logically makes much more sense. I know why they did it the way they did before, but it's always way more entertaining to see the winners keep lip syncing, you know? All Stars 9 and season 16 especially really sold me on this sticking around. So honestly, I am gonna put it up into mainstay challenge at this point. I'm always happy with the product. There's always one or two lip syncs in there that are really good, and I don't even care that they reuse songs sometimes because often they're really iconic songs. Okay, so the Makeover is up next, and it is probably one of the most controversial challenges on Drag Race at this point. Not because there's like a lack of entertainment, the judging is just never ever good for this challenge. They can go basically any route they want to. Oh, this person and this person, they don't look like family at all. This person and this person, they look too much like family. They're wearing the exact same thing.
Imagine me, I had to do mine with Tyler Oakley.
Honestly, yours is the most embarrassing. Like, I would die.
There's just like really no guidelines to like what a proper makeover is. I truly don't think there's a single makeover on the show where people like agree with the results. Like sometimes, yes, there is one bottom placement that everyone's like, yeah, that should be there. But often there's at least one person where they're like, this is ridiculous that they're even low. And the pros of the makeover are really big pros. Like I said, it's like stamping your look onto someone else. It is just perfect for branding and character and helping people get to know who you are. And I think that's great. But the judging really takes me out. So I really don't know where this one could land. I don't want it to be cut because again, I think it's great for the queens, but then the judging just really is not good. And we've had seasons where it hasn't been on, and I think those seasons have been really good. And I don't think the Makeover has ever really been a highly rated episode outside of maybe a couple. This is really tough. I'm gonna put it and cut it for right now I'd be happy for it to still be on, but the judging really just frustrates people every single time. Okay, so we're getting to some of the mini challenges now. The photo shoot that happens in the premiere. I love this challenge. I think it's just really fun. I'm not gonna stay on these ones for too long, but for a challenge that happens right away, I think it's like a perfect challenge for queens to acclimate to the show. You can often pin who has that charisma, that confidence, or just knows how they look and how to like accentuate that. And you can also pin who doesn't know that and who's struggling for confidence, things like that. So I think it should be a mainstay. I'm just happy that it appears every single premiere.
And who do you think they would vote for?
Not you.
The reading challenge, I mean, that's a mainstay. It's so culturally significant even outside of Drag Race. I feel like I hear people complaining that like the reads have gotten worse or something.
Alaska, I'm sure Katya can see you from her backyard.
And I don't think that's true. There still are some good reads. I feel like season 15 was definitely weak, but not as weak as Canada versus the World.
I'm just trying to find the funny.
Y'all know we do this every season, right? Please be funny.
But regardless, even if it isn't hitting as hard as it used to, I gotta put it in mainstay. The roast is up next. Personally, for me, this is one of my favorite challenges. I just love like the structure and the comedy and like the art behind a really good roast. And I feel like we do get that on Drag Race pretty often. I love just the jokes that they tell. There's just such a good skill to having a good set, and it just doesn't come naturally to a lot of people. That's why some people are good at the reading challenge or just like reading in the room, but they can't do a roast set as well. Of course, there is the more recent controversy of queens getting jokes written for themselves, or like in one of the cases, queens taking other jokes like word for word. But you can tell the queens who really shine in these types of challenges. I don't love that jokes are being written for other people, but you still have to have the charisma to deliver it. It's not an excuse or anything, just something that you have to deal with. But when a roast is good, especially when like everyone in the room is consistently doing a good job, one of the best challenges, one of the most rewatchable things, and when it flops, it is still one of the best challenges and one of the most rewatchable things.
Don't get bitter, just get better.
It still pains me to watch some of them, like watching Utica or Pheromone. It's so hard. But like when you bomb a roast, that lasts forever. That is like one of the most iconic things you could do on Drag Race. I don't want to put it all the way up in mainstay, though I think it is kind of heading there, but I'm gonna put it in consistently a good time. Room design is a challenge that is still popping up for some reason. You could probably tell where I'm gonna put this. Unless your name is Trixie Mattel or Chanel, drag queens just don't really design rooms on the regular. And it's still just always confusing what designing a room is really helping build for them. To me, all of Drag Race is a resume builder, and unless they're really going into interior design, I don't know, there's just better ways to convey like their aesthetic. There's better design challenges, there's better challenges for comedy. Like there's just no reason for this challenge to be here. And I don't think it's ever been good. Like the closest was Club 96, and that's just like iconically funny. The bathroom challenge was whatever, and like the All Stars 5 challenge was probably one of the worst outside of like the moment with Alexis.
And of course we include the most exotic fruit we can find.
The hell just
Bananas.
happened?
Yeah, cut it. I don't know why they keep doing it, other than maybe it's like a really good challenge for like budgeting. You can just give them some supplies, but even then, I don't know if that's like cheap. I don't know. I have not heard a single person ever be like, oh my god, the room design challenge is coming up. I'm so excited.
Feel free to gawk. Feel free to stare.
Runway Mini and Runway Maxi are similar challenges, so I'm probably just going to put them together. But I did have them separate just because I think there is a little bit of the format that's different. A Maxi challenge runway is something that you see on like UK, where basically their first week is just showcasing two looks, one that's like about themselves and then the other that's about like their hometown or home country. And the Runway Mini challenge, like we saw on like season 13 or season 12, the night and day, things like that, where they have a theme. I think these are really cool challenges. It's a cool way for people to like showcase their fashion, especially super early on. I do think they could only really work as the first challenge because like we're still learning everything, learning everyone, and it just lacks a lot of substance and prep that the later challenges have. But for a first challenge or a first mini, I think they're great.
It's okay.
So I think they should go and interested in the final product. Singing challenges on Drag Race have kind of been replaced as of recent. I feel like anytime they're doing a singing challenge, it's instead replaced by girl group, and I understand why they did that. I'm talking about like the Rocker Chicks challenge on season 2, or like the genre thing that they did on season 3. And of course, Can I Get It Amen is one of the most iconic ones. You can kind of consider it a girl group, but it's more of a singing thing to me.
Yeah, All right. Great. Thanks, Detox.
And Frenemies too. I forgot about Frenemies also. And even though Can I Get an Amen is so iconic, like I lost all hope today, it again just has overlap with other challenges that I think serve a bigger purpose for the most part. And when you watch something like Rocker Chicks where they're doing the same song in the same way over and over and over again, that just gets a little redundant. And again, there's just better challenges to have the same talents, I guess. Did I forget Rusical? Oh my God. After we got through the R's, I just realized I don't have the Rusical on here. So we can talk about that right now, I guess. I just uploaded a video on how it's like the golden age of Rusicals right now, and I still believe that. There's just been a hit after a hit after a hit, with social media, the Rusical also being in there. But they're honestly just such an enjoyable time. I don't want to talk about it too much here because obviously I don't have the entry, and also I just talked about it. I think it's consistently a good time right now because the writing has really been on point for Rusical specifically. Snatch Game is I don't know. Everyone has been talking about Snatch Game, and especially like since season 14, it's kind of lost its luster. I mean, even all the way back to season 11, I feel like people have been saying that. And I don't know if I fully agree, but I do feel like All-Star 7 is almost an outlier and how great it was. But then again, like All-Star 6 was good. Maybe I should have split up Snatch Game and Snatch Game of Love, because at this point, do I like Snatch Game of Love better? I don't know. I used to hate Snatch Game of Love. I feel like Snatch Game of Love is almost like a better final product as of recent. Like I don't know if it's just because it's only on All Stars and people can like perform better because they know what they're getting into. Snatch Game is just like in this weird state. Dawn was talking about it in her video. I feel like people's character choice has been really interesting as of recent. Plain Jane just won with a really like low-key character, and I thought her delivery and everything was super funny. But for the most part, I feel like queens pick those low-key characters and then that just doesn't really play to their strengths. I almost wish they did Snatch Game a little later in the season. That's probably like why it was so good on All-Star 6, because they like waited a long time before doing it. A couple years ago, I mean, people would call it a mainstay challenge, and obviously it is going to stick around basically the entire time. I don't know. I'm gonna put it in interested in final product now, just because I feel like it's such a different vibe than it was. It's not bad, you know, there's just not home runs that are being hit. So we're getting down to the last couple. Stand up I think is very similar to the roast, but for the most part, I definitely think it's much harder to ghostwrite a stand-up set than it is to ghostwrite a roast set. So I think we get a lot more authentic material from the queens, which I do really enjoy. We've seen stand-up on the regular seasons for the past 2 years, season 15 and 16. 16's was interesting with the whole like presentation thing that they were doing. I thought it was pretty funny. I just don't know if I'm the biggest fan of the group stand-up challenges. I think it is like helping some queens out, and being able to like put your brains together can give really great performances. But even then, I don't really think any of the group performances have been like at the bar of like a Bianca Del Rio, but I guess that is a high bar to set. I'm still gonna put it in consistently a good time. We haven't really seen a solo one in a while, so I kind of want that back. The group ones are fine, but stand-up solo is a really hard challenge, so having it late in the season I think could be a really big hump to get over for some of the queens, and if they can do it, I think that's the sign of someone who is really ready to win. Finally, we have the talent show, which I feel like is still on a lot of people's minds because of All Stars 9 and the finale. I don't know which video is going to come out first, probably the All Stars finale video that I'm doing, but I explained in that video that I'm just not really feeling the talent show anymore, and I feel it on paper because I think it's a great way for the queens to introduce themselves, but the judging I don't think has ever really been heavily agreed upon by the majority of the fan base, and I don't think that's a good thing. It's almost like the Makeover where like the judging is the thing that really takes it out. I explained in the last video that the queens are like constantly pushing the bar of what's expected out of these talent shows. So when a viewer sees a ton of these talent shows like on social media or has gone back and watched the episodes, when they then see a new talent, they're immediately going to gravitate towards that, which in many ways they should because they are being very innovative. But to the judges, just because it's innovative, it doesn't mean that I guess it's a top performance. I mean, we saw with like Chanel and Plastique doing these really crazy stunts in theirs. They were praised, but they weren't put in the top because I guess the judges were just looking for something different. I've just always kind of been disappointed with how the talent show is. I feel like on average, I probably like the bitch tracks and everything more than other people. I'm just expecting them at this point, and I think they are entertaining. It's just another hard one to judge. I'm bouncing between these two only because it is a challenge that has been on the show for so long. I'm gonna put it in interested in the final products because I still think there are some incredible talents like Anitra, for example. Crazy things that we haven't seen before just isn't rewarded in the same same way, and I think that hurts the fans a lot more than it does the judges, obviously. I think all the winners of the talent shows have given really great performances. The judging is just like confused most of the time. So here's the finished list. I do think I want to keep dancing and makeover down at the bottom. They're like two of the challenges that I do think can be good, but again, overlap with other things. And specifically with the makeovers, I think the judging is really what keeps it down here. Room design, easily my least favorite type of challenge. I think it is rotted, gutted, terrible. Singing and acting, I think just have been outclassed in recent years by queens who are better at like the improv stuff or like writing a verse and recording it, you know what I mean? And then talent show and Snatch Game especially, I think are ones that could be in mainstay challenge, but there's just some factors that are holding it back. Runway, Mini, and Maxi, really cool introductory challenges. Improv is definitely a challenge that I could see going up if they get even more creative like the forensic queens. Design, I think I am gonna move up to consistently a good time, because though it is very similar to the ball, we only get like 2 to 3 design challenges on each season. And though I feel like it is a way to get certain queens to struggle at certain points,
Oh no!
other queens are able to really excel, and there's just some really amazing looks that come out of these design challenges. And I'm really close to moving commercial up too, because I really do enjoy these challenges, but I'm gonna keep it there for now. I think Rusical is here again, consistently a good time. The writing has been really strong as of recent years. Performances have been great. I feel like they're giving more time to the queens to perform. Just great all around. Stand-ups and roasts are really great to have. They're deceptively really hard, and I think the queens who are able to excel in these challenges are great contenders for the crown. Girl group, I love me a good girl group song, even if I am a little fatigued. I think it is just something that is really modern Drag Race, and the direction that they want to go with the show, I think it really fits the mold with the girl group. The reading and the photoshoot mini challenges, I think are mainstays. They should always be here, always entertaining, always a really good time, just mwah.
I'm not good at fucking reading, but shit, I got a chance.
For the Lalaparuza, though I'm still not the biggest fan of the pacing, I do think it is a challenge that I am happy to have around every season now. Finale song, it is the perfect climax to the season. I think they should keep doing these. I don't know why they have kind of stopped. And finally, the one that we started with, the ball. Oh wait, we didn't start with the ball, never mind. And finally, the ball. It's an important challenge to have, even though sometimes I think it's placed a little too early in the season. I'm pretty sure I got every challenge, of course. Oh my god. I'm pretty sure I got every challenge. I mean, there's some one-off challenges that kind of fit into categories like the wrestling challenge from season 4, but these are like the ones that I know are happening every single season on Drag Race. That's about it. Let me know what else you want me to rank. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks again to HelloFresh for sponsoring this video, and I will see you soon with another video.